So, we're talking about practical strategies for surviving inflation. The first one was everything always goes better when we involve God in the process. And He wants to be involved in our lives, as evidenced by the Lord Jesus when He taught His disciples to pray the Lord's Prayer and asking God to give them their daily bread. So, divine intervention. Ask for it every day, even in the matter of how to save money best, what to spend your money on. The second tip I want to give you is rethink what is essential for your household to have. This is an important but sometimes difficult conversation. It's easier when you're single, but when there are more than one of you in the household, it's even more important. This will help you work as a team. If you have children, they will be more on board if they see you working well together and being confident in knowing what you want, knowing what's best for your family, and then not being afraid to patiently explain it to your children. This is a want, this is a need. But how do you discover what is a need and what is a want? Make a list of all your monthly transactions from a previous month and categorize them into food, clothing, shelter, transportation, and other. Then start to think about which of these are essentials. Which should we keep in our budget? Which should we slowly eliminate? What things should we give up totally? And what new things should we substitute for those things that we have taken out of our budget? Tom has a good resource on his Wisdom with Wealth website called Bullseye Budgeting. I highly recommend it, and I strongly encourage you to do this. So today is my shopping day. Earlier in the week, I took a look at our family schedule and decided what kind of meals to make this week. I just wrote them on the kitchen calendar like this. I took a stock of our fridge and pantry and freezer to see what I can reuse from what I have at home. And then the items that I need to buy, I have entered them on a weekly grocery list. This is from a template that I designed as an Excel spreadsheet. Some people use their phone. I don't have any coupons to use this week, but I am going to collect optimal points at Superstore. I do once a month go shopping at Safeway using my Scene card. I go on their Shoppers Appreciation Day, which is the first Tuesday of every month, and I get 20% off on my groceries. Typically, when I go shopping, I will look at the flyers and just try to stock up on items that are a good buy. We have a set amount that I try to stay under the limit, and so sometimes I will be able to stock up on things that are on sale and just store them until I need them. So I'd like to share some ways that have helped us reduce our food budget. We have one designated household shopper, and I have one or two assistants that I'm training. Having a designated household shopper helps you because you know what the spending limit is. You can start familiarizing yourself with the prices, which stores have the best buys. And it is good if you have older children to rotate children and take one or two with you so that they learn this important life skill. Before you go shopping, it is good to take an inventory of what you have on hand. Remember to check the pantry, the freezer, the fridge, and I would highly recommend that you have designated times where you clean the pantry, organize it according to specific types of goods so that you can find them easier. When you go shopping, remember to put your most recently purchased items at the back so that you use up the older items first. I try to clean my freezer, defrost my freezer once or twice a year. And this January, when I was defrosting my freezer, I found I had beef bones, lots of beef bones. And so I decided to make my own stock, and I made beef bouillon. I froze it in these jars. This jar used to be a peanut butter jar. I washed it Make sure that cleaned it, soaked it so to take off the label. If you're having problems taking labels off jars, put some oil or leave it in your soapy water after washing dishes. When you are reusing lids, you want to make sure that they have a seal and that they don't have any rust on the inside. When you freeze beef bouillon, before you put it in the freezer, let it cool off in the fridge overnight. That way you won't have the jar exploding on you in the freezer. While we're on the topic of jars, I often use these jars. Here is an empty butter sauce jar, which I have used to pickle some vegetables for the charcuterie board. I got some free vegetables that were past their best before date, and so I just turned them into pickles. I also do that with jam jars, recycle them. Here is some leftover cranberry sauce that we had from Christmas dinner. So I just heated it up and sealed it in these jars. It saves a little bit of money. You don't have to buy the refills, and the jars are good quality. I like the smaller sizes now that our family has shrunk. I don't do a lot of canning and pickling, but whenever I get free food, I want to put it in a way so that I can store it and so we can enjoy it. Applesauce is a great favorite. We use that on chicken and sometimes just on bread. I try to use up leftovers from my fridge. Chicken and beef can be remade into a curry. I would also encourage you to do some research on what are the most economical, nutrient-dense foods that you can serve your family. Start by replacing sugary drinks and fruit juices with Adam's Ale, water. Have some in the fridge so it's nice and cold for the kids to drink. If you're concerned about water quality, buy a reverse osmosis system that attaches to your tap so that you can drink good water without the extra cost that bottled water brings. When we're talking about foods that are nutrient dense versus highly processed or sugary, you might want to start eliminating them slowly so that your family doesn't go into a sugar shock or you don't have a mutiny on your hands. So just start eliminating them slowly and introduce them to new fun foods. Your attitude will make a big difference on how your children respond and react to them. Not only will your budget improve, but your health will improve as well. It's true that sometimes it's easier to fill your cart with processed foods, chips, pop, because they tend to be on sale. But it is possible to feed your family with good, nutritious foods if you learn to cook. It might be difficult at the beginning. It takes some time to learn these skills. So be patient with yourself. Teach your children how to bake cookies. That will be a fun activity. And remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you won't be able to build good financial habits after 1 hour YouTube video. So take the time, it's worth the effort, and be patient with yourself and your family as you go down this road to surviving as a family and having more control over your money. One thing I've done at our house is I've made a tea and coffee bar, which reduces our need for going to Tim Hortons. This is a hot water carafe. I boil the water in the morning and it keeps the water nice and hot all day. And the mugs are here in this drawer, easy access. And we were given a very nice coffee machine, so that makes a nice treat for our guests and for our family.